Hey everyone, welcome to another Malts Meeples game of Pandemic Legacy. Let me flip over to the comments. So we have this up and good to go. Pandemic Legacy. This game we've been playing 14 games, so a few weeks at this point, probably a couple months at this point, where we are scientists who are trying to cure various diseases. But there has been something going on. If you want the full story, please go back to the first few videos and watch through. I have all the Pandemic Legacy videos in a playlist, so it should be easy to go through and watch them all. And it is another really hot day. So that means we're about ready to crack open a beer. But before I do that, if you enjoy the channel, please consider giving us a like, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. More people we can have watching this channel, seeing different board games that you can play solo, as well as just fun board games you can play cooperatively with your friends as well. The better, and hopefully get more people into board game. If you don't have somebody you can board game with all the time, it's still possible to board game. Let me double check. My phone tells me that we are live. Set that out of the way. So, tonight's beer is Splendid Moose, or as it says in the comments, don't feed the Splendid Moose. It is just known as Splendid Moose from Insight Brewing here out of Minneapolis. This is a hazy IPA. Grapefruity, orangey. It matches the colors. Doesn't taste anything like moose, which is good. So, yeah, that's a stupid joke. Need another sip of that. Then we'll be ready to start playing. So in a legacy game, if you're not familiar, you haven't taken the advice and gone back, there are things that change in the game as you go. And because of that, we are in the month of November. We have the November briefing. We know you are on to us. You are too late. You will disappear soon. Time is running out. Scratch this off. If package 6 or 7 are not opened, weird. I feel like I'm missing something because I don't have a gene sequence. How do I not have a gene sequence? What did I miss that would give us a gene sequence? It's there. This is going to give us 30, which I feel like is probably going to allow us to open number 7. 30, 30, 30, 30. Did say 30. Ooh, there it goes. Yeah, 30. Did I accidentally lose a sheet somewhere? Or am I just blind? Seems very possible. The latter. 1112C, 4YN, T, 32, 34, Q and F, top secret, O, I'm really confused. I have all the pieces. I don't remember opening 30 ever. I have all the pieces. Coda. I feel like I'm going insane. Because, oh, I just didn't read the sticker correctly. We have everything the immunologist needs. So we don't need to scratch this off, because we're good to go. Because this is already supposed to have been opened. We have 2 types of new cubes to add to the game. We'll stick all the trash into this box. That'll get to us later. The vaccine is working. Oh, that was confusing for a second there. There are a lot of things to keep track of. So tear up the Quarantine 7 Fated Cities objective. Let's read this. The vaccine is working. At long last, and at the expense of many lives, you have developed a formula to prevent the spread of coda. The time for quarantines and half measures is over. It's time for you to manufacture and deliver this vaccine before it is too late. Oof, we gotta open a whole bunch of things here. Why? So some of this is going to go into the rule book. Clear a spot over here to get the rule book laid out. Should be towards the end. Why? Structures. Vaccine factories. Vaccine factories cannot be built in rioting, collapsing, or fallen cities, so it has to be a level 1 or better. Remove any vaccine doses there if it happens. Vaccine factories create vaccine each turn. They also enable shuttle flights between vaccine factories or between vaccine factories and research stations, which is awesome. Then takes us to F, probably also for the rulebook. Hey, that was lucky. This is just a repeat of, it allows you to fly between vaccine places or vaccine and research. Q. Another rule here, Q. Create vaccines. After drawing cards, but before the infect step, put 1 vaccine dose on every vaccine factory on the board. If the supply of vaccines runs out, the players decide where the doses go. So, what do these vaccines do? Let's see, we have N and O, which will probably teach us that. N, pick up a dose. Take as many vaccines as you would like from a vaccine factory in your city and place them on your character card. So that's another action we can do. I'm assuming it's an action. We'll most likely get it added to our action sheet here in a second. Also, just take a look at that. That sheet is completely empty and is trash itself. Vaccinate. Spend a vaccine dose from your character card to remove 1 faded figure from your current city, or put a vaccinated sticker on your current city if there is no faded figures. You may vaccinate cities that are not faded to prevent fading from appearing here. Zodiac interference. You must spend an additional 1 to vaccinate at a spot with military base. We are military base free and going to stay that way, hopefully. We still have to complete 3 things, so we'll see how that works. Really good. So 4, I'm assuming 4 is going to be an action sheet. Nope. Vaccinated cities. Some vaccinated city stickers for us. And another empty sheet. T. Ooh, nice. Vaccinated or faded figures are never placed in vaccinated cities. Cubes from other diseases are placed there normally. So, how I read that, and maybe we'll get some clarification in the cards that are flipped. This is a vaccinated city. Technically, we can't see, like, we know they're black, but we can't see the color beneath it. So, I think technically, no cube is put on. However, say we're in Taipei, an outbreak happens, a red cube goes here like normal. C. Down there. New rule. Yep, I was right. So this actually clarifies for C. If you reveal a vaccinated city, don't place any faded figures, that card still counts as one of the 9 you flip. So vaccinating is good. Very, very good. 12. We have permanent vaccinated places we can add. 11. Aerosol unit. Discard when vaccinating. Use 1 dose to remove all faded figures in the city and vaccinate the city. That is insane. And another completely empty sheet. And another completely empty sheet. In 32. Ooh. Bioreactor. Discard this card at any time to produce 3 vaccine doses at any vaccine factory. 3 of those. Those might be good game and upgrades. So we are down. That's the only thing that we have left is that 34 to open. So that's taken care of. Objective. Have 3 vaccine factories on the board. Objective. Have 6 vaccinated cities on the board. If you succeed, destroy this objective at the end of the game. We have our new vaccine actions. That's why I never found the sticker. And we have the immunologist. Remove all faded figures from your city, spending 1 dose per figure when doing vaccinate action. Once per turn, you may take the vaccinate action to affect an adjacent city. Oh man. This card goes away. And draw this card at the end of November. So, the question is, do we put in the immunologist? Do we have enough done already for diseases? And curing them? And what sort of relationships do we have? Relationships. If you start in the same city as somebody else, you look at the top 2 cards of the player deck, but you can't rearrange them. Rivals allow you to discard cards to pick up extra ones. You can gain an extra action if you start in the same city as someone else. That's what I have with Jean Grey. We're going to go Rivals. And we are bringing the Immunologist simply because I want to kind of look. We can test this out and play around with this, But the hope, and the Rivals is the one where I can discard 2 cards to pick up one that has been put into the player discard pile. My hope is that Kitty Pryde Scott Summers, so KP and Scott Summers. I'm hoping that that will help us. So we can get around roadblocks easy with the chopper pilot from her. And you can use an adjacent city when building structures, which actually is really strong now, because that's going to allow us to get these places on the board faster, because that's really key for us right now. Getting those out quickly. We have to get 3 of them on the board, vaccinate 6 cities, destroy 2 military. So 2 of those 3, we can pull these down now. We've taken care of all of them. We'll save those. So we have to do 2 of these 3, plus this one, curing all 3 diseases. So let's hope we get lucky here. Grenade belt. Oof. And parachute. Lima. Huh. Alright, let's do our quick pile shuffle. All I know is I really want to get stuff vaccinated. Vaccination, like being able, to vaccinate adjacently. Like we have to get this built as fast as possible. So I think we'll actually start in Shanghai. So the reason for starting in Shanghai is we have the Tokyo card. We can set up a base, or set up a vaccination station there. That was almost bad. We just left that card on top. That would have been horrible. It is warm in the office today. It's been a little bit cooler outside, so we haven't had the AC running as much, which means it's warm. Come on. Pink. Alright, so Kitty Pryde starts first. But before we do that, let's get this shuffled. Let's also quickly refresh ourselves. We have no bonuses, which is lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. We do have the start of game bonus of being able to place, after we see where everything is, 3 roadblocks. Which isn't bad, starting with these 3. Riyadh, Miami, and Tokyo. Good thing we're going to Tokyo right off the bat to build. And Riyadh is faded. So that will be the first spot we really have to deal with faded figures. Quarantining's nice, but not something we have to do. Look at that draw. Beijing, Hong Kong, and Osaka. Beijing, Osaka, and Hong Kong is in fact faded. And then Moscow, oh, and I forgot those were all 2s. I remembered the right number to do, but not just how many you guys put on there. Algiers and Moscow each get 1. Mexico City gets 1. So obviously we still do have to worry about outbreaks. That's a big deal. But I think the first couple turns hopefully will be getting these guys into place, or getting this building built. So, Kitty Pryde. And there's an interesting thing about Kitty Pryde, if you remember, she has the formidable trait, you may use a city card from an adjacent city when building a structure. So I'm actually going to build this right here with Tokyo. Reason for doing that, this is in more danger, but also saves an action from having to move, though I probably will move. As an action, I'm going to aerosol unit, San Francisco, Buenos Aires. Should hopefully help. Then we'll move here and remove 1 cube for my 4th action. Technically I have 5 actions, so I don't forget that. Since she is the generalist, she has the extra action. And I messed up when I put this sticker here. She's able to have 4 upgrades, but these 2 are supposed to be scars. We'll just use these 2 as scars instead. If I can find where I set my pen, over here. I don't know how I lose it so often. I didn't even hide it from myself as far as I can tell. But sometimes I am blind when it comes to these things. And sometimes it's because I set it right next to up, scar, scar. There. That just makes it easier for me to read. Also, I just realized we only need 4 of these cards. I think I can peel this. We'll leave it on there and hope not to have to use it. So that's end of the turn, which means we now get to start vaccinating. So we get to place 1 here, and let's have some fun. Some more fun. St. Petersburg, I'm going to spend 1 action, place this on St. Petersburg. We have an aerosol unit. And we forgot to place these. We're going to protect that area. It's for its own good. It's not for making this game hopefully easier. 1 action to place the aerosol unit on here. 2 actions to pick this up. 3 actions using him. I can take the vaccinate action and vaccinate adjacent. I'm going to spend the aerosol can unit, discard when vaccinating, use 1 dose of the vaccine to remove all faded figures in the city and vaccinate the city. We have gotten our first of 6 cities vaccinated. Somewhere. So you can see, you kind of get the history of what everything was, but it doesn't matter that much. So that was 1 to pick up the vaccine, 1 to put this on the card, and 1 to vaccinate. I really don't want to fly away from there, So I'm actually going to spend my last action. Why do I even have that card there still? Oops. Where did my vaccinate? Aerosol unit, vaccination time. Let's drop that on that card. And I just realized I've forgotten to do two things in my excitement. First being Saka in Moscow gains another faded figure. As well as flip two of these. Montreal and Washington. Would not have changed how I did anything thus far in the game, so it's all good. Completed the 4 actions. Of course, hit an epidemic right away. We're now 1 yellow short with an extra yellow over there. Hold this. Buenos Aires gets 3 yellows. Move this up by 1. We have a couple spots that could be an issue for us, and it is really annoying to hit this early. If we hit this epidemic at the bottom of its stack instead of this was towards the top of it, we're much more likely to be able to avoid quick outbreaks. Washington and Beijing. But so far we have, so that's nice. Looking over here, oh yeah, we produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Produce 1 there. I'm going to do something somewhat risky. 1, 2, 3 to Tehran, 4 to Moscow. With my 5th action, spending an aerosol unit to vaccinate city number 2. But that pulls Moscow out of the running. So we have 2 cities we know are in here that are not going to give us anything, which is really nice. We've spent all 5 actions that way. But here's the question. It's probably worth it with what I have here, though I do have grenade belts, which oddly enough kind of works as vaccines, and also it's not that bad over here. I'm not going to discard 2 to pull back this aerosol can. When I hit this one, I might be more tempted to discard from over here to pull back. Atlanta, so we got another blue, and Washington, we got another blue. So we need 1 more yellow for a cure, and we need 2 more blues. We still have ways to go. We do have 1 of these placed already. It'd be great, and I probably will next turn build another immunization factory in Moscow, or not in Moscow, but probably in Tehran actually. I would love to be getting more map coverage, but it is tricky. The board state is not great for this. There's a lot of 2s and 3s, so you're limiting how many spots you can build. You don't want it too far away from the action either, because you want to be able to pick it up fast and go. So, we have to flip 2. Montreal. And Mexico City. Okay. So we produce 1. I don't think I'm actually going to vaccinate this turn. I think I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the reason for that is with how the vaccines produce, I can take as many vaccines as I like from that location. So now I'm set up for next turn being able to take more. Madrid, it's nice. And Tehran. Tehran gains a faded figure, which is less than ideal. Though I do have riot gear that will help protect me, though I wanted it to build. We'll have to see how this goes. Buenos Aires. We have our first outbreak of the game. This is one of the things I was a little bit worried about with my setup here. We have Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires becomes a 1. I have to get over there and deal with that sooner rather than later, so that might be my next turn is dealing with Miami. And Hong Kong gets nothing because it's been vaccinated. Alright, so Scott's gone. I have our little cubes here. Another one there. We'll leave those and actually 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I was looking wrong for that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That puts us in a whole lot better position there. But instead of doing that, I'm going to have spent Atlanta to build one here. Again, it's an adjacent city, so I can do that. Ho Chi Minh City and the Riyadh. Riyadh does not gain one because that would cause an outbreak, and from flipping one of these cards you cannot cause an outbreak. So we're doing pretty well there. Flipping 2 from here. Osaka gains a red cube. Gotta deal with that at some point in time. Miami gains a yellow cube. So that was a good call to remove 1 from there. So splendid. And now we add and add. I'm going to pick up all 4. No reason not to. That was 1. 2. And once per turn I can remove all faded figures from a city by spending. So I'll spend 2. Oh, spend 1. So that's action number 3. I'll spend another for action number 4. Move all faded figures from your city, spending 1 for figure when doing the vaccinate action. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow me to, in one fell swoop, spend 2 and immunize, vaccinate the city completely. It just allowed me to move multiple figures at once, had there been any there. But that's nice. Tehran is now quite safe. And let's flip. Tokyo gains a red cube. And Algiers gains a faded. But I'm going to set both of these aside. Set those sideways there. Because I realized I forgot to draw Jakarta and Kolkata. Kolkata gains there. The reason I did that, and I'll put these back down is that had I hit an epidemic, is basically the concern there. I'm going to have spent Santiago and aerosol simply because that would allow me for one cube, or for one of these, to completely take care of Tehran, and then that would allow me to use my adjacent ability to have taken care of Delhi for the same number of cubes, or for doses. So now, that was dumb of me, bad mistake. I'm going to discard these two to get Santiago back. And that happened. Alright, do we have the correct number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. 6. Good. We do have to start curing at some point in time here. But it feels really good to be vaccinating stuff at this one in time. So we will pick up both of these for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just makes that part of the world better. We still have the issue here and here, but that's not terrible. Riyadh goes up a level on the outbreak track, but does not, or on the riding, but does not actually cause another outbreak because we cut it off from everything else. And Moscow gets nothing. And did I just forget to draw it again? Los Angeles and Taipei. Okay, no epidemics. That is great. So then, go 1, 2. His turn. I don't have enough doses for what I want yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Not the greatest use of my actions. Unfortunately, there's no direct connection there. But that allows me to deal with the last spot that's in danger for an outbreak without having to do anything else. We get Chicago and an epidemic, of course. I say that. Johannesburg fills up. Nobody can self-sacrifice without an action, otherwise I'd consider doing it at this point, just to keep... the world's not that bad right now, thankfully. Well, it's getting worse. Johannesburg connects there, bringing up our outbreaks to 2, and bringing up Johannesburg's level to a 2. I know which one I don't want. Good. Beijing. That's fine. Not the best, not the worst. It's been taken care of. We have Kitty Pryde here. Kitty Pryde's turn. We need to add 1, 1. I wouldn't mind placing a vaccine center here, but I don't know that I want to use that action right now. Or actually, I don't know that I want to get rid of the yellow. That's the tricky thing, is it cost me one of my yellows. We have, I guess it's only 1 in there thus far, but I know that Santiago has the aerosol on it, so I don't think I'm going to. I think we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have taken off. Let's stop there and think for a second. 4, I do not know what to do. Because this gets me back closer. You might be like, well, why didn't you take the extra cubes, stay, Habsburg? I just want to be closer to what I need. There, we're drawing 2. Mumbai. And Johannesburg. We have 4 yellows. We can discard all 4 yellows immediately to cure yellow, which is what I was hoping to do. Because of that, I don't need these 2 yellows, so I can discard those to get back Santiago. We're spending extra cards, but we're getting back an extremely powerful card for us, which is what we need. Algiers, especially with Algiers going to hell on us. And Osaka, where we're at, gains a red. So now, what do I do? Looking at here, I have Cairo, can't fly into Cairo. I have Kolkata, can't fly into Kolkata. I have Tehran, which I can fly into, so I'll discard Tehran for 1. I'll move to Karachi for 2. I will expend my Aerosol can for 3, targeting an adjacent city, using up this. So now Riyadh is vaccinated, and we have vaccinated 5 places. And then I will actually vaccinate with my last one, Karachi, where I'm at. We have completed this objective of vaccinating 6. We're 1 short of having 3 vaccination centers out there. Algiers gets nothing because it can't outbreak from that. And Lagos, so we're good there. And we will discard these 2 to bring back Santiago. Let's flip our 2 here. Montreal gains a blue. And Washington gains a blue. It's not ideal. I can't fly into Washington. One, two, three, 4. So take both off of Buenos Aires for 1, and we'll go 2, 3, 4. Remove 1 there, from there for 5. Reduces the chances of an outbreak again, which is good as we hit an epidemic. We're having to flip 3. And Sao Paulo goes up to 3. Yellow is not doing super well this time, either is red. I need to get out of where I'm at to try and deal with this area, since we've completed that objective for 6. Algiers will outbreak to Cairo and Istanbul. However, we cut it off fairly well. Algiers just goes to a 2. However, Istanbul and Cairo are really splitting the world in half. Let's just quickly remind ourselves. Chopper pilot, shuttle flight, okay. Don't have anything special there. We have this that counts for any color, which is nice. Second one is Montreal outbreaks. Here, here, and here. So that takes us up 2 more. Montreal goes up to a 3. I always knew those Canadians partied too hard. And one more card. Sao Paulo, of course, outbreaks, taking us up to a 5. Placing cubes. Sao Paulo goes to a 1. Which isn't too bad, but we are running into the problem of a lot of epidemics, which means I really have to try and get those stamped down fast. This here, here, and there are, I mean, we know that those 3 are issues. We have Osaka we haven't hit yet, and that's it. So we have to get back to Osaka. Somehow. Don't ask me how at this point in time. I don't think I can. I could get there but not cure anything from it. Lagos. Fly to Lagos for 1. 2. We're going to spend Lagos to fly there for 1. Remove that for 2. 3. And because yellow is cured, we can remove it for 4. What you can't see because it's kind of off screen is we were down to about 7 yellows with 1 spot that's already had an outbreak. Let's see what we flip here. Red, red. So we're over. Can get rid of binoculars. The nice thing is I have this that counts as any color, so I'm actually close to a cure for red. But hitting those 3 outbreaks fast was tough. And now we have Osaka. As I said, Osaka could potentially be a problem for us. And Osaka goes up to A1. Oh man. That was the first one we flipped. Beijing goes there. And Washington outbreaks, causing Montreal to outbreak. That will advance us 2. So I'll just bump up those numbers, both to 4s. And that actually is the game right there. That escalated quickly. But there is one last thing we have to do prior to the end of this game. And that is we have to put a scar on Kitty Pryde. Well, the scar I'm going to go with is it takes an additional action to quarantine with her. That one just doesn't seem like that much of a threat to me. The worst part about this is she's getting closer to death. Obviously an issue. And the downside is this one is a one-time one, so that means we can't do it next game. We literally have to build military bases with how things are going to win in November. That's a bit nuts. So let's track who we completed with. And one thing you'll notice too is I probably could have done better had I not gone for those aerosol cards. But let's look at this area now. Delhi, Karachi, Riyadh, Tehran, and Moscow cannot get faded figures. We are starting to limit that. We have Hong Kong that cannot get a faded figure. I would love to get Bangkok and Jakarta because then we would just have this pocket of 3 and that pocket of 4 that can get faded figures. So let's see, today's date is 7/17, so it's been a few days, and I apologize for the amount of time between stuff. That just happened to be how long it took to get back, and tomorrow night I am going to see far from home, and Friday we are having people over. Saturday is probably going to be fairly busy, but there's a chance in the evening I'll be able to play. So that'd be the first time it would be likely that I can get back to the table. So we recorded. We have there. We have a card here. I'll move this over just so it's easier for me to grab. It says, stop. Just draw this card before selecting game end upgrades. It's, end of month upgrade. We'll just leave that set aside for use in the future. And let's hit our game end upgrades. Game end upgrades I want to do is I want to get those 2 vaccination stations in place somewhere on here. Starting turn 1 now, we will have vaccines being created, which is huge. Plus, that also means we're only one away from this, which makes it a whole lot easier to build those non-permanent military bases quickly at the end of the game and win, hopefully. That is one of the goals, I feel like, of this game, or one of the ways it really kind of shines, is just limiting your solutions or issues. But solutions, really. Limiting your solutions because, okay, we only have those 3. One of them is fairly tricky with military bases. So by having 2 permanent immunization factories, that means that we are really close to beating that one. We now have this relationship in play, so when this card is discarded, we can get it back faster, and hopefully it comes up quickly for us. A little sooner than last time probably would have made a little difference as well. But that was just kind of an unfortunate shuffle. So this was basically what was left with these last 2 in it. But this was the whole gap between everything, which, I mean, that's enough blue and enough red to have cured both of those. But drawing the first one as early as we did is tough, and yeah, but that was a good game, and it was fun to stumble around horribly and then realize what I should have been using, or should have opened. Possibly opened it last game, but I don't think so. I think we got the last piece we needed last game, or might have been one game that we played it wrong. However, that's just part of playing these games. There are a lot of rules. You're not always going to get all the rules right, and don't beat yourself up if you don't happen to get them right, because really the question is, are you having fun? The answer is yes. You're doing a plenty good job. So, with that, I won't raise my beer because that is gone, but I will see you next time for Game 15 of Pandemic Legacy Season 1, and bottoms up.